Thank you for joining me with Day by Day Journey with Jesus. I don't know about you, but I love words. I love words that have special meaning, and I love when God over and over again sometimes will have that word pop up here, pop up there, and I just know it's to love on us, to encourage us, and just to take day by day, step by step journey with Jesus in whatever the situations are in our lives. A few years back, actually in 2006, my husband and I were getting ready to go to Lake Wells, Florida. And we were very excited about the journey that God had called us to. But I'm a Kansas girl. I only lived here. My husband lived in several different places, but we had been actually 26 years in Wichita, raised our children here, and now we're on a new calling from the Lord, an adventure, a journey, and honestly, as excited as we were, and even though the Lord had already given me peace and joy about it, it was extremely hard. And the thing it was hard for me is because my family here, especially, and so many friends, and where we raised our children. And at that point, we had all been together, and our daughter was moving to Nashville. Our son and his newly wife they just had gotten married a few weeks before that, and now God had called us to go to a land we didn't know. I felt like Abraham and Sarah in Genesis 12:1 and 2, when the Lord said, "Go, leave your family and go to a place that you do not know." And you may say, Florida, well, that doesn't sound like the same thing with Abraham, but we did not know anybody there. And I knew God was with us, and we knew God had called us, but I didn't realize I would have so many different emotions that went with the move as we moved down there. Well, it was during that time that God led me to the book of Judges, Judges 6. And he called out Gideon in Judges 6:12. I'd love to read that to you, because what he does, he calls out Gideon, and he's in the wine press, and he's back almost hiding from the Lord, and the angel of the Lord comes to him and he says, "Be strong, mighty warrior." What the Lord had done, the angel of the Lord had come to him, and he called him a mighty warrior before Gideon ever went out onto the battlefield. And what I love about that, my husband and I, during that time, we were praying and reading through the book of Judges, and we were praying over this, and it was like God is calling us to a place that is unknown to us, and he's calling us there as he did Gideon, and he's seen in Gideon what he's going to do for Gideon in the future, even though Gideon had no idea at that time. And he called him a strong and mighty warrior. At that time, my husband and I looked at each other and we said, if God has called us to this, it's not by our own human strength and our own abilities, but it's going to be us totally depending on God, on the Lord, and that he would be the one that would lead us, again, that breadcrumb ministry, step by step, prayer by prayer, as we are obedient to the calling upon his lives. Not only did he call Gideon a strong and mighty warrior, he was calling Bob and I to be strong and mighty warriors for the King, as we were going to meet new people and to experience new amazing ministry. Oh my goodness, amazing ministry that we had no idea that was going to happen, what God had planned in advance, and it was for God's glory, God's purpose. It had nothing to do about Bob's and my abilities or what we could do. It was what God would do in and through us as we were obedient to him. Also, it reminded me during that time in Joshua 1:9, when Joshua, who had to follow Noah, and I can't imagine, I said Noah, I meant Moses. How can I forget that? Moses, the mighty man of faith. But anyway, that was a big task. Can you imagine following the steps of someone like Moses? But the Lord came. He came to Joshua and he said, "Be strong. Be strong and courageous, because I'm always with you." And that's such an encouragement that I need every single day. that whatever the circumstances, whatever the trials, whether we're in a valley or whether we're on a mountaintop, it is so reassuring in our hearts and our souls to know that God is always with us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. That's the promises in his word from Genesis to Revelation, from the beginning to the end. We know who's going to win the victory at the end. It's going to be Jesus Christ, our Savior. He will reign victorious. He will have triumphant victory, reign over all things, over all things. And it's not just some things, it's all things. And I can't even begin to wrap my head around that. But when I look at something that is over my head, that I think, I can't do it. And I heard this from a Bible study years ago, that whatever is over our head is under his feet. It's under the feet. It's under his control. Another one of my favorite verses is Exodus 14. It just came to my heart and mind. And during hard times, the Lord sometimes says, be still. The battle is mine. The battle is the Lord's. And God will be the one who fights the battle for us. It says, be still. That God fights the battle for us. So I pray it's an encouragement to you today, that whatever your circumstances is, and I would love to hear how you are a strong and mighty warrior, or if there are certain words that speak to your heart that God has blessed you with, and you have illustrations and testimony of God's faithfulness in that, I would love to hear those, because we're walking this journey together. We're walking in journey with the Lord, and we're walking in a journey with one another. Thank you, and God bless you.